Hey, everybody. Hello. We'll get started in just a few minutes. Hope everybody had a great Father's Day weekend. Those of you that don't know, my name is Travis. I've lost over 100 pounds on the program. Come off all prescription medications. Starting a new series today. Looking forward to it. We'll get started directly. My grandmother used to say directly. Now I know that means directly. All right, good to have everybody. We're going to give Nicole a few minutes to get in here, and we will then get started. Let me know in the chat thread if you are new. We want to welcome you properly. If you're new or if you're coming back, if you're getting restarted this week, let us know. We make sure we take good care of you. Catherine, Lisa, write these names down. Make sure Catherine, Ronette, hey Melissa, make sure that everybody gets in the support group. They have a free support group. Jacqueline. All right, there's Nicole. We've got a lot of new people, Nicole.
Oh, yay.
Awesome.
Hey,
Dawn,
everybody.
we like to see the coming back. We love it. Some of y'all, we did a little session last week and talked about kind of the new way we're going to do things. I'll break that in and then we'll get started. I'm kind of talking you through the rules, and Nicole's offering this week color commentary. She's got a lot of experience she'll be sharing. I'll let her introduce herself in a few minutes. But hello, everybody. We got a lot of people coming back. Got Cheryl and Cindy with us. Everybody, make sure we make the new folks feel at home. Yep. We still have the 10:30. It'll be tomorrow. I'll be teaching on the thyroid tomorrow at 10:30. Yeah. We're not getting rid of that one. Nope. We're setting up the week. Hello, everybody. Testing 1, 2, 3. Hello, Melinda. We're also going to go live on Facebook. Bear with me. Lisa, I'll go live. Since this is fast track, we won't have to end it. Just want you to be aware. Desiree, good to have you, Desiree. Good to have you back. I know, right, Cindy? Good to have people restarting. A lot of success in this room. It's good to see all the experienced members coming out to support the new folks and those coming back. We're about to get started, just finishing setting some things up here. Got a lot of our black belts with us. Make sure in the thread, Lisa is also helping us, assisting us, and I know others will too. But make sure you watch the links that she gives, especially the ones related to the support group. The Fast Track support group is invaluable, and it's available to anyone that is starting our Fast Track program. That's where it's really community driven, community led support. My mom helps in there. A lot of the members help in there. Then we have the I Am Faithfully Fit members only group. We're kind of where it's kind of all meshed together this year as we've transitioned. We're splitting that apart now so that we've got a distinct beginner program. Then we've got a distinct experienced members program, which I'll be heading that up. And then we're training other instructors to help us with Fast Track. We've taught more than 200 classes this year, and there's been a lot of those that it was beginner, intermediate, advanced, and that can sometimes make it a little challenging, doable, but a little challenging for the beginners. So we wanted to do this. We still have the Fast Track program, and we feel like everyone here should go through that. We do the lives to kind of reinforce what's being taught in those pre-records, and to also allow for some connection. Just I really feel like connection, accountability, support, that's the real difference maker here. Watch the pre-records. That's the curriculum. The fast track, we'll talk more about that today. We want to go through those and then take the test, pass test to earn the badge. We know those people that earn the fast track badge, even if you're earning it a second time, that's fine. If you ever left the information and you're just coming back, you need a refresher. Keeping this stuff top of consciousness is so important, but we're going to try to add some realness to it by having the live classes this week. By the end of this week, you should be able, even without the pre-records, we want you to do the pre-records, but even without them, you should have a good understanding of fast track. Each week, this will start over. So we'll get through this week together. You may decide, by the way, that you want to start eating right today. That's fine. Or you may say, this is the week for me to get ready, to get my tools sharp, so to speak. And then I'm going to start next Monday and go through this again. You can do that. This is your life we're talking about. It's a big deal. So understanding this and not being willy-nilly about it, even if it takes you 2 or 3 weeks to grasp it all, it's going to change your life. And I think by the end of the week, you'll see that. But Nicole and I, we've got 4 lessons that we're going to take y'all through this week, making sure at the end of the week that even without those recordings, if you had to, you could pass the test. And I hate using that word test. It's not a test like when we were in school. It's just letting you know, did you grasp what you needed to grasp so you can lose fat and get healthy and feel great and all that fun stuff, okay? So we're going to get started. Sue says, I am overwhelmed. Well, you're not going to be. We're going to clear that up, okay? Let me get Nicole hosting spotlight. We're going to make, if I lose hosting, Nicole, you may have to give it back to me, but I think it'll allow both of us to hang tight. Maybe I'll do it this way. I'll share the PowerPoint. We might have to practice on this later.
Yeah,
There
I
she,
was gonna say if you would share the PowerPoint, I actually thought you were. So yeah, if you could share the PowerPoint, so you probably need to remain the host.
I will. Let me work on this for a minute, make sure I get my bearings. So there we are at the top together. I'll be playing with this. Don't let it throw you off. Y'all work with us this week as we get through this. I'm going to get started. Where can I find the fast track program? Lynn, go to right there. She give you in the message www.iamfaithfullyfit.com. Shibboleth is just me, Catherine. I've been Thrive, I've been Shibboleth, and now I am faithfully fit. So it's all the same program. We're glad that you're here. We just call it I Am Faithfully Fit now. We are focused on community, accountability, support, education, all those great things, but all on the chief cornerstone of faith. So doesn't matter to me what we call it as long as God gets the glory. It's good to have you. Okay, so I'll get this party started. Y'all, my name's Travis. I've lost over 100 pounds on the program, come off all prescription medications. As you know, it's changed my life and it's changed tens of thousands of other lives too. And the good things that God graces us with, very rarely is there, He orders your steps. He ordered my steps more than 20 years ago when I was trying to teach Posey Piles and Shelby Jean Piles how to shop at the local grocery store. Everything that you need comes from your local grocery store. There may be things you want that we talk about that we have to go outside of Kroger, but everything you need comes from your local grocery store. Don't get that twisted though. This is more powerful and potent when done right than anything, even medicinally, that you can take to lose weight. Because we're going to understand by the end of the week how to modify our behaviors. Got to have a willing and wanting heart. And we're going to understand how to combine foods to control insulin, and we're going to preserve muscle. We're going to lose body fat so fast, it's going to be like taking a blowtorch to butter. There's a lot of people here So keep in mind that when we get through with our remarks, then of course we're going to let y'all ask questions. We've got about an hour to get through this, so from time to time I might have to get it back directed and get it back on point as the moderator. But we're going to allow you to ask me questions, Nicole questions, and we'll get going with that. So I've told you a little bit about myself. I've got a co-teacher for the next couple of weeks, and then she'll be taking these over. Uh, no, I don't want to say by herself because I'm never by myself. I have some really experienced members always helping me, and I know we'll continue to have some helping Nicole. But Nicole, tell them a little bit about you, how you got started. I did not realize, I must say, how long you had been a part of the program, so much so that you didn't even, there wasn't fast track videos when you started, there was daily doses. So
Right.
Nicole goes back a long time, and it's
Yeah.
so good to hear that. It was very encouraging. But Nicole, tell them about you, if you will.
Okay. First of all, I just want to say if you could give me a little grace. I've never done this before, and I try to really hide from the camera at all. Most of the time you don't see me. So this is new for me. But just to tell you, like my personal journey, I've lost 110 pounds. I started in 2018, and I honestly, like I was just miserable, miserable with how I looked, but mostly how I felt. I I've had multiple back surgeries. I have degenerative disc disease. I've had 4 back surgeries. Um, but was diagnosed with fibromyalgia many years ago. All of those types of things, and I felt bad all the time. And I was considering having weight loss surgery. My best friend, I had another person, a mutual person we know that had gone out of the country to have weight loss surgery because it's a lot less expensive. And I was seriously considering it. Really couldn't afford it, but it was, something I was like, I've got to do something. I'm miserable. And she was just so worried about me doing that. She was like, the complications, you're in another country, all the things. And another mutual friend of ours had started Shibboleth and she was doing great. And we kept seeing all these people posting about this weight loss program. And, I'm sure many of you see somebody else's results and you're like, wow, look at them. This is great. And then your very next thought is, but I can't do that. And you start telling yourself all the reasons why. Well, that's exactly what I did. And she's like, look, I'll do it with you. I'll do it with you. We'll do it together. And that really helped me get started. So, you know, and fast forward, I've had a lot of things go on in my personal life that weren't ideal. Um, and I really feel like this program saved my life because I wouldn't have made it through. Um, I get emotional every time I talk about this, but I wouldn't have made it through um, some things that I've been through if I had been that same person. And the thing I'm most thankful for is the person I have become along the way because I realized that I could do things that I just thought weren't possible. So that's my story. Sorry. I'm a crybaby.
I think that's awesome. Awesome. Don't y'all? That's great. And Nicole, I know that her story will resonate. That's one reason that God's put this together. Her story is going to resonate with so many of your stories. And as we move forward with this community-driven program, I think as you hear these different perspectives from women like Nicole, it's just going to open up opportunities for other people who's had their life changed to step up and help us help people. And she's got this great heart for ministry to help people accomplish what she has. Nicole, I love what you said because when you said that you love the person you've become because of it, that's so important. That you when you lose weight and you feel better about yourself, you feel better about life, you go through difficult times and you can navigate through them better. And for me, y'all, I didn't even enjoy the good times because I was so overweight. And now, because it was just always a suffocating, overlying baggage that I toted around in my mind, nobody else was paying attention. But, it's how I felt. And I projected that out in my universe, so to speak. But losing the weight really allowed me to even enjoy life, enjoy the things I should have been enjoying all along. So that's what I got out of it. Thank you for sharing that. I'm going to share my PowerPoint and got some bullet points on here. I will, before you feel like you're getting lost, let me say, when we get through, we're going to point you toward where the information is laid out very constructively and concisely, the way we want you to learn it. You have to realize that diets don't work. The first three letters of the word diet spell die. Anything that we can't start with, stay with forever is a waste of our time. We are a quick fix people. We're a microwave society, and it's never been the aware not the awareness, but the attention spans of people has never been more pulled. So I know I'm just covering some things up front. Some are going to be going, here we go again. I can't understand it. Just tell me what to eat. That's what we're getting to. If I give you a fish to eat, you eat for a day. But if I teach you how to do this for yourself, you'll do it for a lifetime. So understand that Nicole and I have a plan. We just need you to trust the plan for the week. And at the end of the week, you're going to have mastered this foundational program. Today, we just want to set it up for you so that you understand why it's a lifestyle. We're building your bulletproof shield. This is a term that I coined for myself many years ago because I would too get lost and get confused. And I thought, what I need is a bulletproof shield that I can pick up anytime. And it's like hitting the home button. These are my rules. And if I get lost in the sauce, I just follow these rules. So we're going to set it up why it works behaviorally, scientifically, all of that stuff today. Okay. So we're going to talk the foundation. We're going to talk the mindset. One of the reasons I was so excited all weekend is because I got a partner in here now that will be able to talk about the mindset that it takes to lose weight from a woman's perspective, a wife, a mother who's had all kind of life thrown at her and has lost more than 100 pounds. She's used the shield. We're going to talk meal timing. What does that look like? What about categories? Key topics today. Why fast track works. Now, we're going to pause here and just talk a little bit about that. And then I'm going to turn it over to Nicole too. So, faith. The Bible tells us that faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So, we've got to know that this is working. We've got to have faith in the program. Now, there's going to be things try to disrupt your faith, but you cannot do anything without faith. If you don't have faith, as soon as the scales say, hey, you gained a pound today, you're going to quit. You've got to have faith that we know what we're talking about, that the program is going to work, that we're going to be with you every step of the way. You've also got to have faith in yourself. You have to have faith in yourself. You have to have faith in God. You have to have faith in your instructors. I would suggest to you this too. Come with an attitude to honor each other and honor the coach. Honor Nicole. If you honor Nicole, you'll receive the gifts that she's got for you. If she'll honor you and I'll honor you, we'll receive your gifts. That's the only way we can learn. We go into this with humble hearts, a desire to change our lives, a desire to help, and have faith in each other. Every day, every perfect day you have, we want you to give honor and glory to the Lord Jesus Christ. Every perfect day. And we want you to honor each other in that process too. Be good to each other. Okay. The science of it is impeccable. The science of this program is on point and it's impeccable. there are as many ways to lose weight as one can find to lose weight. But it has to be practical, it has to be sustainable and fun, it has to be backed on against sound science. So what we focus on here is not just the faith, but the practical too. You have to control insulin. You have to be in a calorie deficit and you have to preserve muscle. No matter what we do or what we talk about, it's got to fit under that umbrella or you will not be successful long term. One of the things as we were working out our presentation that Nicole and I discovered, we both had different ways of doing this program, but we both satisfied that criteria. Insulin control, calorie control, muscle preservation. I'm going to pause right there. Nicole, do you have anything you'd like to add about the faith side or any of that I just said?
Um, I would just say, one thing I've thought about many times is, our body is the temple. And a lot of times that's, people don't like to to really think about that. And I think that's just an important thing to remember is, you know, taking care of our temple is honoring God. Like it's a form of worship. So that's just something, to think about as far as the faith component goes.
I like that you said that it is a form of worship. And I agree with that. It's almost like it gives me an opportunity every day to privately, within the private places of my heart, worship God. Because what more could be in secret between just you and God than your intention to eat properly and take care of your temple? That's a secret thing. If I go to a Mexican restaurant with Melissa down here and we go and they got the chips and the cheese dip and she eats them and I say no to them. I'm not going to say, "Hey Melissa, I'm worshiping God right now by saying no to the chips." I'm in the closet, so to speak. You know what I'm saying, Melissa? I'm in the closet and I know why I said no. I'm doing so unto the Lord. I love that too. That's I can get on board with that. So the here I go now. Key topics, why fat. We talked about that bulletproof shield overview. So we have a bulletproof shield, okay? The bulletproof shield, when you start, we alter a word in here. So we've got our water, our journal, our meals, our portions, our timing, our faith. This is how we have a perfect day. Okay, you'll notice that instead of saying combinations, we say meals. We know when you start, you need meal ideas. By the end of this week, I want that word to change to combinations. I want you to understand the power of food combining, but we're going to help you with meal ideas for you to get started with that control insulin or meal replacements. Now, we only have two types of days. We have the perfect day and we have the holiday. This is Monday, okay? But for me, it's either going to be a perfect day or a holiday. If I go and have a feast, it's a holiday, but it's only one. If I go and lick the cheese dust off a Dorito, that's a holiday, but it's only one. The rest of my days need to be perfect, not okay, not so so. They need to be perfect. I've got to honor the definitions of a perfect day. And when I do, something amazing happens in my body. After 2 days, I enter into efficient fat burning mode. I've depleted my glycogen levels, and now the body's making up the deficit of energy by tapping into my stored fat. But I must have a perfect day. You might have a liberal perfect day. You might have a really right and tight perfect day, but you have to have a perfect day. Okay days won't work. I'm going to pause there and I'm going to ask Nicole to speak on the first component, water.
Okay, so I have a confession here. When I first started, I've never been a water drinker. And when I first started, I thought this was the hardest thing ever. Like a half a gallon of water, are you serious? And literally, it's funny. I don't know if I heard Travis say this or I've heard other people say it, but it's crazy how things change. I literally crave water now. Like I drink, sometimes I wonder if I drink too much at this point, but it's weird how things will shift. But at first that was like really difficult for me. And now it's literally something that I crave. So if you hate water, just hang in there. You'll get there, but you have to make yourself do it in the beginning. But yeah.
Yeah, water in, fat out, water in, poop out. If the waste isn't coming out, the weight won't come off. And Nicole mentions that in the beginning, that was difficult. Anytime we commit to change and it's not a part of our reflex habits, it just takes a little while to correct that. You just have to be persistent and consistent. And Nicole, for you, you started and you didn't love water. So how did you, what made you keep doing that? Was it your why? Did you refer back to your why? What got you to where, okay, I don't want to do this, but I got to do it? When did that kick in?
Um, hmm. I would say probably for me it was you know, since you know basically, so much of the time they say your brain, the same signal for your brain that you're hungry is that you're also thirsty. So that's one thing that I used as, okay, if I thought, oh, I'm hungry, no, I'm not. Go grab a bottle of water. So that's actually how I started using it to get my water in, was the trigger of I'm hungry. Nope, I'm thirsty. So that's how I started in the beginning. It's just you're telling yourself it's a mental game. The whole thing is mental, right? We all know that. But it's not knowing what to do. Sometimes it's doing what you know. So,
Ooh, that
you
was
know,
good.
yeah. So it's like every time I thought I'm hungry, no, I'm not. I'm thirsty. And then before I knew it, I've already drank my half a gallon and I'm on my way to a gallon. So,
Yeah, and there's some alchemy, y'all. In other words, the person that started in the being of Nicole, okay, she's thinking, I'm already noticing Catherine, like that's hard for me too. She's resonating with you, you see. But here's the thing, don't get so caught up on, hey, you can still have Diet Cokes. Did you know that? You can still have diet sodas. We're not wanting you to. We're not pushing those. We're not saying you need to drink them or advocating for them, but you can still have them and lose weight. And as you go forward, you'll lose some of the desire for that stuff. The only thing we're going to say no to, and we don't say no to anything, you can still have it on your holidays. But on your perfect days, the only thing we're going to say no to are things that provoke an insulin response. That's what we got to do. So if you need your Diet Cola or some approved beverage, you can do it, but you got to have your water. The person that started, Nicole starts, and she's like, I don't want to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. And now she craves it. Do y'all see that? You just have to be consistent enough with your patterns sub from a top of consciousness standpoint. Now it's just a subconscious thing for her to the point she's saying, I'm afraid I might be having too much water. How do we go from that to, I don't want to drink water to I may be having too much water? She loves it now. You will too. Fantastic. Now, I'm just curious, do you have a strategy for getting your water in like mine? First thing I do when I get up, I drink my first uh, 20, 24 ounces of water. I do that several times a day. I'm always drinking fluid, but do you have a strategy that helps you get that much in?
I've changed my strategy multiple times, as far as that's concerned, but I would say in the beginning, I was, I had to have bottled water. I could not drink. That was the other mindset. I was like, oh, that's the only water I can drink is bottled water. So first thing in the morning, I would get however many bottles of water I knew I had to have, and I would put them out visibly somewhere, to where I could see them.
Yeah.
And then I transitioned to, I got one of those big jugs, that that was literally a half a gallon, and filled it up first thing in the morning and kind of set it out to where I knew I had to get through that, um, you know,
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
day.
Somebody asked me the other day, like, why is it really that important? If you're not properly hydrated, if you're dehydrated in the least, the number of calories you're burning at rest goes down. And it's a substantial amount if you look at it aggregately. So you're losing some of your fat burning potential that you're working hard for because you're not hydrated. And it helps keep the liver cleansed so that it can operate optimally. And you can't just drink water today and the body heal itself. But if you're consistent with that amount of water, then your body can begin to heal and all the chemical conversations that need to take place to get you where you want to go can happen. So next is and by the way, before I even move, I know the diet devil is lurking and saying, I'm so confused. Stop. Let's take this one component at a time. How many of you, if you had to and you really wanted to change, you could drink a half a gallon of water a day this week? Is there anybody that can't do that? That's not confusing, is it? Now, watch how this plays out. That's not confusing. There's no one that can be confused about that. Sometimes when we don't want to do something, Nicole, we say, I'm so confused because
Yeah.
really we just don't want to do it. But there's no confusion there. Y'all would all agree, right? Half a gallon of water, we got this. We're made of water. We're 2/3 of us is water. We got it. Is the next component going to be confusing? Y'all stay with me. Is the next component going to confuse me? I hope not, because I understand that component. What about the next one? It says journal. If you bite it, you write it, you hog it. I see Melinda covering her head. If you bite it, you write it, you hog it, you log it, you nibble it, you scribble it, and you even put your emotions in there. Nicole and I had a great conversation about the journal, right? When I'm looking for teachers, I got to ask, what are your feelings on the journal? Because I'm the journal Nazi. And we had a great conversation about this related to emotions and such. Nicole, what's your take on journaling?
Well, I've been picked on a little about, I'm just kidding, not picked on.
I did hear.
Um, no, I'm just kidding. I will say this. Um, I did journal very, very um consistently when I was in the beginning weight loss phase. I did. So I know it's been joked about me not journaling. But the thing that you know, I would do the food combinations, I would do what I ate, didn't have an issue with that. I was never big on the feeling part, like putting down this is why I did or didn't, I usually didn't do that. And now I see that as a lot more important, probably would have helped me more in the beginning because that helps behavior modification. You can go back and look at what I felt like, when I did this or that. And I didn't do that. I mostly just put down my food combinations and what I ate. So I look back now and I think that's very important if you're starting out. That'll help you, more so that you can go back and look at that.
Yeah, absolutely. And y'all know that I journal with my emotions. What's funny, I don't think we talked about this, Nicole, but what's funny is I'm a dude and I'm journaling my emotions. And you're a girl and you're not. So how much for those stereotypes, right?
Right.
But for me, I like to journal very deeply on my holidays because there's never any use in me having Catherine a holiday, but I do it. And when I do it, it's usually not intentional, it's an accident, especially in the beginning. It was my snackcidents. So I would write about what triggered that. What was I feeling? Was it boredom? Well, the next time I'm bored, I don't want to trigger this Reese cup binge again. And if I'm stressed, oh, I was upset about something. So what is all that about? I'm trying to, use food as a coping mechanism. And it wasn't that I was able to stop cold turkey from using it as a coping mechanism, but the journaling of it, rather than moving on with my day, spending that 3 or 4 minutes, it helped me identify void replacements till I could get a hold of the trigger. Because if I have a Reese cup, I've lost 2 days of fat burning potential. Doesn't matter what the scales say. I've lost 2 days. All I can do is lose fluid and glucose and fluid. The scales are liars. So I would want to go, okay, here the Reese cup cost me 2 days. So what could I have done different? And then that's how we find and discover the void replacements. Maybe we still need to abstain from them. However, it doesn't provoke that wild, crazy insulin response that keeps me from fat burning. So that's why I journal my emotions. But the main thing is bite it, ride it, hog it, log it. Now, I don't, I'll ask Nicole, but my philosophy now, because of what we have in our hands with technology, I used to write as I went. But now we have an online journal, and that will help us help you too. If you're using the online journal, you can even set it up like an app on your phone. If you want to use paper, use paper. But the way I do it, everything that goes in my mouth, if it goes in my mouth other than water, I take a photo of it with my phone. And at the end of my day, it's a memory jogger, and it allows me to remember, oh, yeah, I forgot that I ate that. I did eat that. Here's how I felt. I like that. I'm going to do that again. Or I had a snack accident, and here's what I need to do next time. You can do it in the flow of your day, just like when y'all go take your makeup off at night. Why not journal, right? Right, make it a part of your daily rituals, like when you take makeup off or brush your teeth. You may not want to do it, but it helps you get to where you want to go. Nicole, did you have any strategy? Did you do it as you went through the day? How did you do it?
I would say early on in the beginning, I would, somebody told me this somewhere along the way, and I would do first thing in the morning, I would go ahead and put and save what kind of day I was going to have. Something about doing that made me, okay, I've already committed that I'm going to have a perfect day today, or I've committed, whatever it was. So that's one thing I did when I was in the beginning, the weight loss phase and all that. Now I have um and on I have an iPhone, so I have like a reminder set up that links automatically to my journal. And so I have that reminder every night before I go to bed. Um, that comes up that I do it then. But I will say if you're new, starting over, whatever, I think the strategy that did help me in the beginning of go ahead and commit first thing that morning. Obviously you don't have all your food, but you can at least commit to, hey, I'm going to have a perfect day today. And you're kind of setting that agreement with yourself right off the bat.
Absolutely. And how many days, everyone, does it take to get in efficient fat burning? How many perfect days? 2. That means if you're starting today, Wednesday, you are blowtorching fat. Do we listen to the scales? No, they're going to tell you tomorrow. If you did this today, they'll tell you tomorrow you lost 5 pounds maybe. And they're just setting you up for disappointment later when you only lose a half a pound. Never listen to the scales. Follow the program, perfect day or holiday. There's no in between. That's fantastic. Okay, so next, oh, I got to ask this qualifying question though. Are we confused? Is the journal confusing? It isn't, is it? We're clearing confusion up. I'm just poking fun at myself too. I tend to do that. I'm confused when it's something I'm not confused about. I just don't want to do it. So the journal is really easy. So we got it so far. How are we doing, everybody? We've got water. I know that it sounds so simple, it can't be effective, right? Drink your water, journal. If you bite it, you write it. There's no confusion. Now, this next component, well, we got to do some unpacking. I don't think any of the components are confusing in the least except for this one that we're about to go over. And it's because it looks like math. It looks like when I say food combinations and it says category 1+2 and category 1+2+3, I see smoke coming out of people's ears. Relax right now. I promise you that if your heart wants to change, this is like easy and it's fun and it's what makes the program work from a physiological standpoint. Last week, we did a class in advanced class about GLP-1. A lot of people are on those meds trying to lose weight, and they'll ask, is this effective? Food combining is more effective. It's more effective than GLP-1. It's more effective than medication at controlling insulin. This weekend, 2 different people, you may be here, messaged me and said, I'm happy with the program, but my blood sugar has plummeted since I started this. And they're on medication, found out they were on medication and doing, you might have to unmute a minute, Nicole. They're on medication and they started eating right. And it's like my blood sugar, what has happened? The food combining is that effective. You will get the same good results from food combining and portion control as you do the meds without any terrible side effects. That's why you have to be invested in learning food combining. Now, we're going to talk about how we lived it, what kind of meals we ate. We want you to, while you're learning food combining, to know what to eat, because we want you to get started when you're ready to get started. So, but food combining, we've got, let me just pull that up. Nicole, if you got anything you want to add, you jump right in there. I'm going to show you Fast Track. By the way, we've reimagined Fast Track. Is everybody with me? You see this? Now, when you go to Fast Track, if you have all access, you just have to go to your dashboard and then Fast Track with Travis. And it'll look like this now. If you are a Fast Track member, this is all you can see. It's all that you're allowed to see. We want you to get through this, earn that Fast Track badge, and all the resources a new person needs is here. So you'll notice that now there's the test, complete the quiz under each video. We no longer wait to the end of the lessons to take the test. We make sure that each video you're getting what you need from that short video. Watch all the Fast Track videos and underneath, take the test that's underneath it, and that lets us know, and you know, I got what Travis wanted me to get from that video. And then at the end, there's no long test to take. You just get your badge. But everything you need is here. So I'm going to go to the combination chart. This is a good beginner combination chart. It also goes over different meal ideas. You have access to different meal ideas right there as a downloadable form. We're going to start with best combinations for beginners, and you'll see those that are outlined in red. Those are the ones we want to focus on in the beginning. We want to focus on the red, and then, yeah, we can lean into the yellow once we understand those. We want to hold off on the blue column combinations for a little while because we want you to get some momentum. Then we're going to look down here, you'll find the beginner food library. We've got our food library, and there are 7 categories. Here's what we've done, okay? We take all whole foods. When we get that bad rap that they let you have processed stuff over there. No, we don't really push that, but we meet you where you are so that if you were used to eating cereal, you have options. If you were used to eating oatmeal, you have options. We want you to meet you where you're at. We'll just change out the type of oatmeal. It'll have to fit certain formulas or whatnot. But we are a whole food program. So we have categorized all foods underneath 7 categories. Whole foods, foods that grow from the ground, foods that roam the earth. category 1 through 7. Now, I'm going to start with category 1 and kind of break this down for you why it's so important. Lean proteins. By the way, heart these. If you're looking at the food library now, go ahead and heart them as you go. Let the website that's very intuitive know what you like so that it can start getting to know you. If you're a subscriber and you're a paid member, this is much more important for you than a fast track member, because we've put technology in there for your membership where it can get to know you and offer you meal suggestions based upon your likes and your goals. But you need to heart this stuff. Category 1 lean protein is the building blocks of all lean tissue, of all life. These foods you do not eat chicken breast and go, Lord have mercy, I've got to back away from the chicken breast. I've been eating too much. You never have looked in the mirror and said, these egg whites are making me fat. Doesn't happen. Lean proteins help control insulin, help you preserve muscle. So you've got fish, ground beef, 96% lean ground beef. You've got smoked white turkey franks, turkey breast, London broil from boar's head, certain cheese. Not all cheese is here. We've got to watch out for the type of cheese in the beginning. Chicken breast, turkey breast, salmon, a lot of fish is on there. You've got venison, low-fat cottage cheese, fat-free cottage cheese, Greek plain yogurt. These lean proteins preserve muscle and help put the brakes on the fat bus. Does everybody see 3 or 4 food items in that list that you like? Nicole, is there any of those that you just love
Well,
food-wise?
uh, salmon. Salmon was my go-to, and butternut squash. Those were my two things. I thought I was going to turn orange for a long time. I ate so much butternut squash because I'm not a vegetable. I'm not a vegetable lover, I will tell you. And that was like one of the vegetables that was my go-to forever because, and my tastes have changed drastically now. I eat so much more than I used to. But in the beginning, like that was the closest thing I could come up with that actually tasted good and, was a fibrous carb. So that was like one of my go-tos.
So that you had a red column. So you're saying you had a lot of salmon and butternut squash, and we'll talk about butternut squash as a category 2. So she's got, imagine again, we're just eating. I want y'all to get the visual. What really changed for Nicole? What really changed for Coach Dawson? What really changed for me? So I'm eating a plate of salmon and butternut squash. Does anybody else like salmon and butternut squash? You don't have to because there's so much variety. I like it. If Nicole's sitting in front of me eating salmon and butternut squash, I'll have some of that. That looks good to me. I'm focused on that. But you're not just eating salmon and butternut squash. Do you understand? You're eating exercise on a plate. Did that make it taste better right then when I said that, Nicole? It's not just good. You're eating exercise on a plate. When she would eat that, this is someone that's lost more than 100 pounds. So she's eating that and it tastes good. She's in that timeline probably thinking, well, I'm on my diet. But what she was doing was exercising. Salmon and butternut squash, you have to have so much blood flow going to the digestive system to break that down and extract the nutrition that you're expending energy and shutting down the fat bus. So
Hey,
salmon, butternut.
Travis, I want to say something right there. Sorry to interrupt you, but
No,
I
no,
just thought
go.
about you saying that about exercise on a plate. That's one thing that I really, because of all the back issues that I've had, multiple surgeries, all the things, that was a huge focus for me in the beginning. I had to learn, I had to have the mindset, or I thought I did. I will say that I've come a long way because since I've got the weight off, I've been able to start doing a lot of physical things that I didn't think I was going to be able to do. But I lost my first 90 pounds with zero exercise. And I think that's so important because so many people have the mindset of what they, we all have a tendency to focus on first, obviously, what we can't do because if you want something bad enough, you'll find a reason. If not, you'll find an excuse. So it's, or vice versa. I might have said that wrong. But anyway, you've probably heard that saying, but like I did have, you know, I did try to like look at it that way, that I am eating to do this so that if I can't exercise, if I am not, ever able to exercise, I can do this. So that is a huge thing that I did, that I had the mindset of too in the beginning is, you know, that I did literally need exercise on a plate.
Yeah, yeah, it's fun to even people would ask me, did I exercise to lose weight? And I'd say 3 times a day because I was eating 3 times a day. It's fun, fun.
Yeah.
And we've got a question for you, Nicole. Cindy's asking, what in the world did you put on salmon and butternut squash to make it taste better? I would say before Nicole answers, watch out. Not that I'm not saying Cindy's doing this, but watch out because you'll hyper focus on something. You're like, oh my gosh, she ate salmon and butternut squash to lose weight. I don't like it. Well, you don't have to like it. There are thousands of meal combinations that work the same way. But how did you prepare those?
I did look I did a little bit of liquid aminos, um as a little bit of marinade, if Bragg's liquid aminos, and Lowry seasoned salt. And I put that on both actually. One other little trick that I did, again, it's behavior modification. You're, tricking your brain. You have all these little trick your brain things. I cut up my butternut squash to look just like French fries.
Oh,
So that in my brain, I'm eating, French fries, sweet potato fries, whatever, because it does, to me, it has a close taste to like almost like sweet potatoes. But so that was another thing I did. Do Pam cooking spray on top of that, a little bit of Lowry seasoned salt, cut them up like French fries.
that's smart. Sometimes the texture and the shape matters, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Just
it does.
mentally. That's good. Yeah, and that is a category too. For those of you who don't know yet, by the time you get through fast track, you'll understand the difference between potato and butternut squash. But there's certain things like butternut squash, you can make it taste like French fries, sweet potato pie, all kinds of things. Did you use the recipe library very much?
Oh yeah, yes, I definitely lived from the recipe library. That and Chick-fil-A. God's chicken's approved.
You can't
So
have Chick-fil-A. Can you
that
have
was my
Chick-fil-A? Well,
yes.
tell us about Chick-fil-A. What did you do at Chick-fil-A that helped you lose weight? You can't lose weight eating at Chick-fil-A.
Well, I was so shocked by the fact that I could have, I hate to say real chicken nuggets, but, like the chicken nuggets that, I was used to having. So I would do the, the nuggets and side salad. Um, my favorite thing to do, and I literally, to this day, I prefer this. I got to the point where I would have a holiday and I would say I'm going to have a chicken sandwich on their bun, and then I would be like, man, why did I do that? I like my low carb tortilla better, and I'm not getting the fat bus. So but I literally, like, that was my favorite thing: spicy chicken sandwich, filet on a category 2 tortilla. That was my favorite.
Oh, nice, nice. So for those of you that are new or coming back, just a refresher, if she had those nuggets and she had their bread, or let's say that we went to Chick-fil-A, I want everybody to understand and believe. I need you to believe this, okay? Because it is true. If I go to Chick-fil-A and I order a chicken sandwich, you'll hear people say in class, grilled. Well, in the library, you can have there, you can't have it at McDonald's, but you can have their breading. It's about the formulas. So they're fried, the grilled is better, but they're breaded and fried nuggets we're allowed to have. I don't know about y'all. I want to enjoy the journey. So if you wanted to get a Chick-fil-A sandwich, that bread with that that chicken, they already have 10 grams of carbohydrate on that breading, and then you're adding 20, 30 more grams of carbs with the bread that's going to shoot your blood sugar up. Now, I love those Chick-fil-A sandwiches. If Nicole, who loved Chick-fil-A, was having to walk around and go, but I can't eat at Chick-fil-A anymore, even though that wasn't true. If she's telling her herself that, is it likely that she's sitting here down 100 pounds right now? Nicole, that's not likely. If I had said,
Um,
and we'll breach this subject later when you remember when we were talking about your philosophy with the number of eating episodes.
yes.
We'll get there in a minute too, because the bread. If I had said no, you can't ever do that, like some trainers or coaches are doing, that would have been one more thing that worked against her transformation. Not that she couldn't have overrode it, but if you do that enough, if you're always talking yourself out of it. So all she had to do was swap out bread or something like that. Okay. So, for example, if I go to Chick-fil-A in my Jeep, I have my approved tortilla, or I could have my approved bread. I prefer tortillas. So I would take that chicken, cut it up, put it in my tortilla, same condiments, but just a little, just a smidge, and I would have my chicken wrap, my chicken sandwich. The difference is instead of their bread spiking my blood sugar, my bread doesn't do that. So with that, just that little pivot, I saved myself 2 days. Don't just go in there and say, well, I don't want to think about it. Let me just get a chicken sandwich and eat their bread. The whiter the bread, the quicker you're dead. So no, it's going to take me 30 extra seconds to throw away their bread and use my bread. And now you're back to having exercise on a plate. Does that make sense, Nicole?
Yes.
So salmon, butternut squash, Chick-fil-A. Was there anything else that you did routinely that you felt was it was like a staple item for you?
Mighty muffins. I lived on mighty muffins.
Mighty muffins.
Yeah, that was something I think I ate every day for, I don't know, a year maybe. I don't know. It was crazy. But yes, mighty muffins. That was another big thing. And I hardly eat them at all now because well, one, because I got tired of them. But anyway, yeah, mighty muffins. That was another big thing that was a good meal replacement for me. And again, it made me feel like, for lack of a better term, I'm not on a diet, or whatever you want to call it. It seemed like something I would have eaten normally, so.
So if you were teaching me and I'm listening to you, here's what I picked up on in my mind. Okay. I got to drink some water. I got to journal. I got to watch these videos. This girl's lost 100 pounds. And then here's what she said she had stuff like this: Mighty Muffin for breakfast, Chick-fil-A for lunch, salmon and butternut squash for dinner, and she done lost 100 pounds. I'm in. Do you
Yeah.
see how simple? Is that about right, Nicole?
Yeah, exactly.
That's how you lost over 100 pounds.
Hmm.
No, I don't believe it. Does that sound like something everybody here could do? Again, you may not like salmon and butternut squash, but we've got enough variety that you'll pick up on that. So combinations we're going to learn. Don't forget to download in the fast track dashboard, download those meal ideas so that you can get started while you're learning how to combine foods. We'll have a special session this week teaching you how to come up with your meal plan. Okay. You'll go into next week with at least 7 breakfast ideas, 7 lunch ideas, 7 dinner ideas, 7 snack ideas. Is that a deal? Now, are you going to live off 21 meal ideas for the rest? No, if you can learn how to put those on your meal plan, you can learn thousands. So combinations or meal replacements like a Mighty Muffin control insulin. Now we get to the good part, portions. How many times a day can I eat? Can I graze all day? What have I got to do? Well, we've got to control our intake. That's what got us in this situation. We have overconsumed hundreds of thousands of calories to get here. The only way out is reverse engineering and controlling insulin. So we're starting that process. When I started, I was over 300 pounds and I allowed myself 3 meals a day and up to 2 snacks. That worked for a while, and then I would hit plateaus. Now, for years, I've been teaching it eat 3 or less eating episodes a day and do not have that fourth one unless you're having mental weakness. Only eat 3 or less a day. And Nicole was sharing with me some really interesting points and takes on that. Nicole, you started and you didn't do 3 or less eating episodes, did you?
I didn't. And I think, a lot of it is where you are. Obviously you have to start where you are. If you have over 100 pounds or more to lose, you have to your mindset getting there was a lot different than somebody who's 20 pounds overweight. That's just the reality. The habits that I had, you know, done for over 40 years at that point. Now I'm telling my age, but the habits that I had accumulated over that amount of time are different than somebody who, just has an extra 20 pounds to lose. So I had to, in my mind, I had to start with, okay, I can have that snack if I just feel like I can't do it. I can't get through the day so I could have a perfect day. I had, and I didn't do it long because I realized quickly that I actually didn't need that snack. I was fine, with my 3 eating episodes, by the time I had gotten in my water and all those things. It didn't take me long to realize, okay, I can do this a lot faster if I don't have that extra snack, all that. But in the beginning, when you're going from, eating whatever you wanted, as much as you wanted every day for however many years to, you know, what you can't do, to me, that was something I needed. But, you know, that I think it's different. It depends on where you are. If you're that person who, maybe you've never been a really big eater, it's going to be different for you, obviously. But that's where I started. So,
Nicole, is it safe to say before the program, maybe you did you graze a lot?
oh yes, snack, yes,
Do you
lots of
think
snacks.
we didn't talk about this, but do you think that a lot of that you were using it as coping mechanism?
Absolutely,
What
yes.
were you trying to cope with that the food seemed to help with until you got control of it?
Um, Probably stress the most.
Hmm.
Probably stress, just well, stress and you habits, you've just done something for so long that you mindlessly eat, it's that's a huge thing. I think that a lot of people, that's one reason it's important not to have so many things readily accessible to you, you know obviously cleaning out your pantry or refrigerator and things like that before you get started. But, um, you know, just it being right there, and, it's just a habit. You have a snack after dinner, or you sit down to, watch TV and you have to have something in your hands or mouth, that kind of thing. It's
Yeah,
just a habit.
yeah, yeah. You get when you get idle, if it's a habit, there's an uncomfortableness. Here's kind of how I would put it. I don't know about the rest of y'all. I'm just talking, trying to connect, but it's almost as if you know how if we were all sitting here and nobody was talking and we're just staring at each other, it get really uncomfortable. I'm probably not going to make any sense, but this is coming to me, so I think it's coming from the ether. But you understand, like if Nicole and I, we've had conversations getting ready for this. If we were just sitting there staring at each other, not saying anything, that would be real uncomfortable. You want to do something, right? You want to say something, do something, because we're so if there's not activity going on, it's uncomfortable. For me, If I got still after being active every day, working like a dog, you got family stress, anxiety, and then there's that moment that you get still, and all of a sudden it's silent, and there's an uncomfortableness. And I've been active and a busybody all day, so it's more like I'm not savoring the Cheeto, I'm just hand mouth disease, something to break up that uncomfortableness rather than holding that space and realizing I'm okay. I don't know about y'all, but I have a tendency to just want to grab something, but it's to break up some uncomfortable feeling, whether it's stress, anxiety, or whatever. But while I'm thinking about it, when you did have a snack, other than a Mighty Muffin, was there some void replacement that you did that helped? Is there something that you just before the program you just had to have? Like for me, it was Moose Tracks ice cream. I had to find a void replacement for that. What about you? Is there anything like that?
I did popcorn. Popcorn was approved popcorn for me, and because one is there's so much chewing involved
Mm-hmm.
that that's a I guess it's a satiation thing, but I would eat that popcorn one piece at a time because it was just like you know what I mean? Like till you almost got tired of chewing it, whatever.
Yeah.
That was a huge thing for me in the beginning that I would do if I just felt like I had to have a snack.
That's a good point because I noticed myself, I gobble stuff up so fast. I've gotten in the habit of eating one piece of popcorn. Then all of a sudden that cup that I can have, it takes as long as it used to take to eat a bowl. Because really I'm not hungry. I'm just
Yeah.
looking to break up that monotony. That's a good point. Renette asked, what's the difference between this program and Weight Watchers? Well, I hope if you stick with this by the end of the week, you realize we're not comparing the same two things. Weight Watchers is a point driven system. They're not so interested in insulin control as they are calorie control. We're interested in both. We're interested in health, wellness, behavior modification. I would say the huge difference is insulin control through food combining. So just hang in there with that though. Keep going with us and learn the program, and I think you'll see there's a lot of differences, both what we teach and preach behaviorally and what we teach from an efficacy standpoint. Good stuff. So you've got your food combining. You're having 3 eating episodes or less is for optimization. That's what I do now. I made the decision for myself. I started like Nicole did. I would have 3 meals and up to 2 snacks, but I kept hitting plateaus. And that was okay. If I had went into that with awareness, that would have been okay. I would have been ready for that and then altered my amount of consumption again. On the way down to your goal, if you're having 3 meals and a snack and freebies, as you reduce your BMI, your body is not going to need as many calories. So you have to continually make more adjustments. At some point, I thought, I'm going to go ahead and eat for the size that I want to be, not the size that I am. So I went what you would call, let's call that cold turkey. It was 3 eating episodes or less, and so bad, so sad, whatever, wipe the tear from my eye. When I've had my eating episodes, I cannot have any more. Nicole reminded me, and I had forgotten, she reminded me how I started. And she said, you know what? Sometimes you got there has to be a little bit of grace while you're learning the program and you're used to eating a lot more, and you don't want people starting off going, I can't do this, it's too hard. Nicole, you started off with a tapering, we called it the other day when we talked, you tapered off.
Hmm.
It was like 3 meals, a snack, and freebies, right?
Hmm.
But it was approved food that control insulin.
Yeah.
It wasn't just anything willy nilly, right?
Right, right. It was still perfect because to me at that level, as overweight as I was, it's like I was still because my natural personality is an all or nothing kind of person. So I was like listening to you say this the other day, and I think Paulette said the same thing. Like she had to just cut herself, you had to just go cold turkey. Like to me at that point where I was coming from, to me, just having a perfect day was like it was it was a small miracle on a daily basis. So I felt like this is all or nothing. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
for me, it was, and I'll be honest. Like I told Travis, I lived for holidays. I lived for my holidays in those early, the early days, and that was another thing about the program for me was like 6 days. I got to do 6 days and I can have whatever, like that to me, that was realistic. It was a lifestyle. That's the biggest thing I think is the number one thing I tell people all the time is first of all, wholeheartedly, if you knew me before, people don't believe you when they see you now, but if you knew me before, you would not believe I ever got here, number one. But you would realize that I promise you, if I can do it, anybody can do it. That's the biggest thing. Because the way I ate was, yeah, probably nobody here eats quite like I used to eat. But anyway, it's just, that's the biggest thing I think is you have to start where you are,
Yeah.
and you have to figure out what works for you, because what works for you, is there's so many different things in this program that you can do that is still perfect, but is not going to be exactly like what Travis does or what Cindy does or what Paulette does. So that's the biggest thing is you can make this program work for you. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, I like that. It's flexible, adaptable to the person. And now, if we go forward though, if we go forward to where you are now, you don't eat at that frequency anymore. Is that correct?
Right.
So
Right.
it's took time. But like Nicole said, I thought for me it was an eye opener. It's like, yeah, I needed this too to get another perspective from a new person or someone that's teaching new people. She just boldly said, I'm a little worried about that because if you had told me early on that I would be doing today, what I'm doing today, if you said I had to do that when I started, I might not have kept with it. Is that accurate?
Yep.
So,
Oh, I absolutely wouldn't have kept with it. I can 100%
yeah.
tell you that, so yeah.
Yeah, so there's some grace there. And I also love your mentality. These are my words. It sounds to me like you work really hard and then you got to play hard. So you would work and earn that holiday and you look forward to it all week and you would enjoy it without guilt and regret.
Yep.
Y'all, that's the ticket. This is not a hardship and you have to talk to yourself right. So I'm doing this and I'm enjoying it. She enjoyed it. And then at the end of the week, hey, I get a reward, and I bet it's less likely you do that as often now, even now that you've matured in it.
Right. Exactly.
Good stuff. Anybody have any questions for Nicole before we go to the next part? We're about to finish up in the discussion. Anybody have any questions for Nicole? Feel free to ask.
I, this is Cheryl. I see a
Right.
question in the thread, Travis, that says, is going cold turkey bad for you?
Ah, gotcha. I guess it would depend. Physically, no. Now, keep in mind that's probably a strong phrase, quitting cold turkey. I'm inadvertently kind of relating it to an addiction. So, anytime, like I've counseled addicts, anytime you have an addict, there's two ways to deal with that. You taper off of the substance or you quit cold turkey. Cold turkey's more abrasive. I think it's up to the personality. Tapering, though, can lead very quickly right back in the same state. It depends on the personality. So, to me, cold turkey meant I'm 300 pounds. I want to be 200 pounds. I'm done with this. What do I need to do to be 200 pounds? Well, you're going to have to live the rest of your life with 3 or less eating episodes. That's what it's going to take to maintain 200 pounds. Now, if I was 300 and wanted to be 280, I wouldn't have to do something so extreme. I could taper down. Do y'all see what I'm saying? Like there would be, like I was eating all day. So going, starting with 3 meals, a snack, and freebies would allowed me to have grazed throughout my day, still maintain the efficacy of my program, perfect days. But then my weight, I'm going to fall pretty fast in the beginning, and I'm going to hit a plateau and have to adjust my calories again. Eventually, I've got to get to where I'm eating 3 or less eating episodes a day, except for holidays. So for me, cold turkey was just abrasive. It's healthy. It's good for you if you can do it, because that's how you're going to have to eat the rest of your life. We're in a mess in America. We use food as a solution for problems, not hunger. We use it for entertainment, for boredom. We're in a mess, and it's a reflex habit. And you're not going to be able to eat like you eat now, lose weight and keep it off. But it could be that meeting yourself, being more gentle with yourself, like Nicole was more, that's a good word maybe, she was more gentle with herself and allowed herself to have, she did it as a lifestyle. And she allowed herself some grace to have some extra eating episodes. It was still perfect. That's allowed now. We don't talk about it much anymore, but 3 meals and approved snack and freebies is allowed now. She was just, how I see it, allowing herself some grace. And where she's adjusted to, it's worked for her because she doesn't do that anymore. To get to her ultimate goal and ideal weight, she had to keep adjusting those calories. Is that right, Nicole?
Right. Yes.
So I think it's more of a personality thing. If you make it too hard on yourself, you may quit. You've got to know. But here's another thing. Nicole didn't quit the first time the scales didn't budge. She just tapered, adjusted, and kept going. If you're a personality that you're gonna quit early on, if you're not losing weight as rapidly as you hear other people lose it, and you get all caught up in comparison. Comparison's the thief of joy. We may need to talk about cold turkey. You're going to, it doesn't matter if you go slow or fast once you decide you're going. Does
Right.
that make sense?
Yeah.
Anything, Nicole, you could say to that or add to that that would help the ladies?
Not exactly to that, but just something that I did want to say, because I saw when we first started, and I want to apologize. I'm not used to doing these meetings, so I'm not used to like all these questions coming over here and things like that. I apologize. I'll get there, I promise. But I noticed so many people said coming back, coming back, coming back, and that's just something I wanted to touch on because you know, I've had a few relapses. It took me a while to completely get to goal because I had some relapses, like I said earlier, like personal things went on in my life, and, I would just give up, so I just want to encourage you too, that if you are coming back or starting over or whatever, that's okay. You start where you are today, and it's one day at a time. Like that's all we're promised anyway, right? One day at a time. So like if we try to get in that mindset, if we're living, don't look, yes, you want to have that goal. I want to lose 100 pounds or whatever your goal, 50 pounds, whatever it is, you want to have that goal in mind. And obviously you need that, and that's very important, but you still have to live one day, one meal at a time. So I think trying not to overwhelm yourself, because that's another word we hear all the time, is try not to overwhelm yourself with oh my gosh, do I have to eat like this for the rest of my life? You'll realize after a certain amount of time, you hope to eat like this for the rest of your life because what you don't know right now is what food does to your brain, to all the things. You'll realize it once you've been away from it for a long period of time. Like now, if I have 2 holidays in a row, and I can have 12. You mean I can have, I'm in maintenance, whatever. If I have 2 holidays in a row, by that third day, my joints hurt. I can tell in my moods. I can tell all the things that come along, those unintended consequences that come along with food, I've realized. So, but I'm just saying, focus on one day at a time, one meal at a time, with a goal, with a long-term goal, but one day at a time.
Perfect, perfect. Love it. I love that we're doing the same thing with just a different view. And just keep in mind the maximum 3 meals, they have to be approved, 3 meals, an approved snack, and freebies. So technically, in the beginning, you could graze while you're preparing the mind and heart to try to optimally live with 3 or less eating episodes. That can be 3 meals, it can be 2 meals and a snack. But right now, when you're getting started back, if you need that extra, just make sure it's approved. The difference is the insulin control. Portion wise, we have to eat our whole food combinations on a portion plate or use the 2 hand rule. So, a portion plate, example, 6 to 8 inch plate. I think this one's 7 inches in diameter. When Nicole said earlier that she had salmon and butternut squash, if it's on this plate, by default, the calories are on point. By default, because those are whole foods, categorized properly. I put them on my plate, or that meal, the salmon and butternut squash, fit under my 2 hands, not out here like this, thumbs interlocked. Ladies have smaller hands. Oh, we didn't
Not
even get to
fair.
that
It's
fun
not fair.
discussion. But two hands over that meal, you can't see any. It's not piled up any thicker than the thickest part of your hand. Don't do this. Put it right over that meal. It's always going to be on point. There's some exceptions. If you're eating an approved burger, hot dog, or sandwich, only one until maintenance. Keep those things. Mighty Muffin, you can't have as many Mighty Muffins fit under your hand. Those are those are I need a different word, consolidated or whatever. It's a very efficient use of calories. So you can't have 4 Mighty Muffins. That would be 800 calories. You can only have one. But when it comes to the whole foods, we're putting some lean ground beef, 96% lean ground beef with green beans, under the 2 hands or on the plate, no, not piled up any thicker than the thickest part of your hand, and you'll always be on point. Now, what do you mean it's not fair?
Okay, we had this little debate earlier, and I think I have mostly women here, maybe all, but I need some help here. Um, it is Travis and I, we disagree on this. It is harder for women to lose weight than men. Can I get some amens in here? Because, yeah, he's trying to tell me it's not, but we all know that that's not true. And I have to say, I thought it was really unfair about the 2 hand rule, because I'm actually pretty tall, but I have really small hands for some reason, which is weird. And I was like, this is not fair. My hands are really small.
Well, I'm going to push back. I will lose because I am in here with mostly women.
Yes, you will lose.
I will lose this even if I am right. This is one of those things where if you want a happy life, just choose not to be right. But let me say this. I think it's equal. If we're looking at percentage of weight lost, it's very similar. And men are bigger, so they should have more calories. But anyway, here's what I want to point out about that. We have had at least more than 1,000 challenges, group challenges in all the years I've been doing this. Believe it or not, we've only had one man win a challenge in all those years. Now you,
That's because women are tougher. That's not that
I
they're
knew
just
you would say
tougher. They're
that.
just tougher than me. I'm just kidding.
No, I think you're probably right about that. So yeah, that I stepped into that, didn't I?
Yes,
Because
you walked right
yeah,
into that.
that's
What
that's
else you got? What else you got?
that's not an
I'm
easy
just kidding.
challenge. But what you can do to make it fair, everybody, and as fair as you can, is take if you're a calorie counter, women do have to live off less calories than a man to lose similar weight. And two, your lean tissue's different. You don't have as much lean tissue, which means you're burning less calories at rest. But if you need to look at calories, make sure that you're keeping your calories at ideal weight times 8 or less until you reach goal, and then your current weight times 10, and you'll be on point. But yeah, I would agree women are tougher. That's probably why we don't have men win these things. They're good out of the gate, but not much for endurance. So,
Yes.
all right, so we got our portions, and then lastly, timing. Um, this has changed since you took it, Nicole. Back when you did daily doses, it was 4 to 6 hours between eating episodes. We've simplified that rule, and now it's you have a 12 to 16 hour fast. Meaning, if you end your day at 8, end your eating day at 8. Nicole had her dinner at 8. Well, she should not eat again until 8 a.m. I prefer you work towards 16 hours a day, counting sleep, but that may be too big of an ask in the beginning. So just keep that in mind. It doesn't matter to me when you eat those eating episodes. Doesn't have to be upon rising in the morning. Can be, doesn't have to be. You break the fast when you break the fast. But when you end your day, your eating day, if you have popcorn, if you have approved popcorn at 11 o'clock, you should not eat again until 11 a.m. the next day. You have to give your body time to break that food down and digest it. It is bad, it's optimal. I'm not saying you've got to do it, but it's optimal not to eat food after sunset. Unfortunately, we're all conditioned because of our way of life here to eat most of our calories after sunset. But if you're aware of it, we can start working on that. You can still be successful if you have perfect days, even if you're having to eat after sunset. But it's 3 eating episodes or less, a snack and freebies if needed, and get a 12 to 16 hour fast day. And the last rule is Nicole's already hit on it. It's an act of worship. Don't do, there'll be days you want to do this for yourself. The days you don't want to, remember, this is a way and a form of worship in the secret place of the heart. You're doing, nobody even has to know you're doing this, but you're doing it to honor your temple, to honor the Lord. I believe He'll bless you even in other areas. When you do all that we've talked about today, that's 2 perfect days. Monday, Tuesday, you've had 2 perfect days. Wednesday, you're in EFB. You're efficiently burning fat. Now, how long do you want to go? Nicole would go and then have a holiday meal on the weekend to reward herself. You can do that. Don't have to do that, but you got to get in EFB. Don't do this. And we'll talk more about it tomorrow, but don't have, and I'll try to keep it to an hour tomorrow. Don't do 2 perfect days and then a holiday, 2 perfect days, a holiday. Try to string together those efficient fat burning days. You'll have a lot more success. And that's how you have a perfect day. Again, today was an overview. We got 2 more things, 2 more pieces of business to handle. Then we'll let you go and we'll try to keep it to an hour tomorrow. This is our first time together doing this. Over the next 2 weeks, y'all are going to get familiar with Nicole. She's going to get familiar with y'all, and then she'll be teaching Fast Track, and we're looking for other teachers. Ideally, for this to be what we feel like the Lord wants it to be one day, we have to have those Fast Tracks, those live ones, and the connections that you only get through live. We need to have them a couple of times a day with various voices, instructors, so that we can change the world together. That's what we're all here to do. Live healthier, happier, leaner, longevity. That's what we're here to do and honor the Lord. Nicole, do you have any last words you'd like to share with them today? We'll be back tomorrow, everybody, Tuesday, noontime. But Nicole, any last words today?
Um, I would just, a verse that comes to mind is, God has not given me the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. And there's other versions that say self-control. And I just kind of want to remind everybody, I feel like this is something that people don't talk a lot about when it comes to self-control, um, but you know, you've probably never accidentally eaten anything. Food doesn't typically just jump in your mouth. So I would just say that, that is, self-control, is what you're eating every day. And, so just keep that in mind.
That's awesome. I appreciate that. It's good stuff. Anybody have any questions for Nicole before we go? Anybody? Well, if you've never done this before, it looks really easy. It is not easy. So y'all do me a favor and join in and give Nicole a big round of applause. She didn't let y'all see any nervousness or anything.
Ah,
So let her hear it.
thank you.
How many of you are going to enjoy having another woman's perspective? Isn't that helpful? I think so. I think it is. No slide. It's not. I want that for this community. I want y'all to have people that you can identify with. And Nicole's really been successful. I hope that y'all will enjoy her for a long time to come in these classes. With that said, we want to make sure one last time we'll dive into the details the next 3 lessons. You'll end the week with multiple meal ideas that are personalized to you. But we got to get started here. We want to go to, if you're fast track, all you'll see is what you're supposed to see. If you're coming back and you're already a paying member, just go to dashboard, fast track with Travis. Everything that you need to start back is located here. You've got a link to the support group. You'll need support. Don't try to do this alone. Let us help you, okay? So you've got your resources. There's the welcome packet, your combination chart. You've even got a paper journal. I would just suggest focusing on downloading the welcome packet, the combination chart, the sample grocery list. That's a good place to start. Watch your video, answer your questions, go through these videos this week. You've got, let's see, there are 19 videos. 19 videos we want to get through. They're all short. You could even do it today if you wanted to. But let's try to get through it this week. If you're looking for any resource that we've mentioned, the food library, the recipe library, you'll find it right here, okay? If you need a mentor, we have some great mentors right now, assuming we have the supply. If we don't, we'll let you know and then you'll get in line. But if you're coming back and you need a little extra help getting through this week, somebody to check on you, you need help, you need some support, we got a great team right now. They're also training mentors, okay? So if you need a mentor, reach out to me and I'll get somebody assigned to you. It's meant to help you do the work. It's not meant to do the work for you. Are y'all listening? Please hear this. It's not meant to do the work for you. It's meant to help you do the work. Somebody to come alongside of you when you say, I'm confused, and they say, well, here's what you need. Then they know what they're doing. The ladies that are doing this and mentoring people and training our mentors, they have been as successful as Nicole and I. Cindy's lost more than 200. Cheryl's lost 100. We have a crackerjack team and we're learning how to help the masses. So let us know. Travis Jack 777 at Paulette is willing to help. We've got some great mentors. So, Catherine, I think Cheryl's already reached out to you. If you're kind of lost in the sauce and don't know the names yet, send me an email, travisjack777 at gmail.com, and we'll get you some help. You could do all of this without the live stuff that we're doing. Okay. Everything you need is in the Fast Track dashboard. The reason we do this, I believe the real need is human touch, connection, knowing somebody else is in it with you, and that's what helps you modify those behaviors. You're not alone. Any parting words, questions, anything from anybody before we go? We do invite you to become a member. We hope that you'll see the value in the program. Come alongside us. You get endless tools, resources, weight loss helps. It's amazing. We have the largest weight loss and wellness website on the planet Earth. You get more variety. It starts at $10 a month. We'd love to have you come be a member with us. It makes your weight loss journey a lot more fun, a lot more efficient, and you get to participate in our accountability system. And we're seeing a lot of good success just with those new benchmarks that you hit, and you get recognized before your peers and whatnot. So move over from Fast Track and become an I Am Faithfully Fit member when you have the unction to do so. We need you and we love you. Miss Cindy, go ahead.
Hey, everybody. It is great to see some names on here that I've not seen in a long time. We are so glad you're back with us. Come on, journey with us. Travis and Nicole did a great job. Nicole, we're so happy to have you instructing. As much as we love Travis, it's always nice to have a fresh voice. So thank you for that. But
Thank you.
don't look at your restart. If you're restarting with us, don't look at it as a failure. Look at it as an opportunity to keep moving forward. And just come and go with us. I'm excited to work with whoever needs a little bit of help. Take care.
Awesome. Thank you, Cindy. I did this about 10 years ago before all the internet. How do I know if I'm a lifetime member? Go to the website and see if you can log in. IamFaithfullyFit.com. And then if you're in the support group and you can't log in, Lisa, give her the support link. That's the easiest place to get your help. So go to the support group on Facebook. If you do Facebook, Fast Track Support, and then go to the website and just try to log in. If you can't, we'll look you up, see what you got, what you don't got, that kind of thing. All right, Nicole, great job. You did
Thank you.
really good.
Thank you.
I'll talk less and less as the week goes by. All right, y'all. We're going to close out in prayers. Anybody want to close us out? Who wants to close us out? Coach Dawson, thank you.
Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you for the family that you put together and the program that you have given us, and just the revelations that you have shown. And we just thank you for everything in this wonderful food that we have to eat, and the wonderful combinations, and the new recipes, and the new things that we just discover about ourselves and our body, and all through you. So I just send out all these people with your blessings this week, and we look forward to the time we have together tomorrow. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate y'all. And we'll see y'all tomorrow. Be there or be square tomorrow at noon. Bye, everybody.